Here's the 101 on how to use the Stuv wood stove. So I've set up the supplies. At the woodshed on the right hand side, you'll find shorter logs, so 12 inches, that fit the Stuv 1 compact. You'll also find some kindling and some fire starters. Please don't use any other products in the wood stove. Get a barbecue lighter. Get your fire extinguisher close to the front door for an emergency. Get the key for the door. The key inserts into the slot. Turn towards the TV. Will allow you to open the door. Practice closing, turning away from the TV for a tight close, just hand tight. When you're starting the wood stove, the door should be kept only open ever so slightly. There should be no smoke that comes into the room. There should just be a little extra oxygen that's going into the fire. The damper on the bottom should be all the way to the right. That allows more oxygen into the stove from the bottom to allow the fire to breathe. Once the fire has been well established, you can close the door fully, turn it to the right. Never leave the door unlocked, not even for a moment. Always ensure if you're going to step away, it is turned to the left and fully locked before leaving the wood stove. Be very careful when opening the wood stove to ensure no sparks come out. After you start, the door should be kept closed, with the exception of a slight opening for a bit of oxygen. Do not touch the wood stove. All parts of the wood stove can get extremely hot. Do not put anything around the wood stove. Wait for about a half an hour for the fire to establish itself very well before opening the wood stove to ensure smoke does not enter the cottage. When you open the door of the wood stove, ensure that you don't open the exterior doors of the cottage. You do not turn on the bathroom fan. You do not turn on the exhaust fan above the stove. That will cause a backdraft and bring smoke into the cottage. So that's very important. And never ever leave the door open unattended. Be very aware of the risk of sparks given materials in close proximity to the wood stove. When setting up your fire, open the door. We'll add a few logs in the vertical position. And then we'll add some kindling in and around the logs. Ideally, you have a mix of smaller, thinner kindling and some bigger kindling. The kindling has been kiln dried, so it will help start the fire. Get 3 to 4 fire starters. Place those below the kindling, below the logs that can be lit, that will help the fire establish. Place them around the kindling. Stack the kindling up to make sure some of the kindling's in front of the fire starters, allowing enough space for your barbecue lighter to get in and light them. Put a few more pieces in. From here, you reach in to start the fire starter. As you start each fire starter, you want to bring the door closed. Once each one's lit, it will start to smoke fairly quickly, so you want the door almost closed. You can leave it open slightly, but you can see it's basically closed. There should be no smoke coming out the top. If there is smoke, you need to close the door more. You can keep it in this position, fully attended, as the fire establishes itself. Keep an eye. You may see that the fire looks to be fully established and burning well, but as soon as you lock it, turning to the right, you will seal off any oxygen that might be coming from inside the cottage to feed the fire that might actually put your fire out. So you're gonna have to give it about a half an hour to 40 minutes for that to establish, and then you can fully lock that. But again, do not leave the wood stove while that is occurring. The fire extinguisher is normally kept at the front entry, just to the right of the door as you enter. I bring it up closer to the wood stove just in case. If you're in need of using the fire extinguisher, you pull the pin, you squeeze the handle together if needed in an emergency. Hopefully that doesn't come to be. With that, enjoy the wood stove and stay warm.